Shavua Tov, everyone. Lovely to see you all. Welcome to those on Zoom, and also a warm welcome to everyone joining us on Facebook Live. This is the South Hampstead Cheder Havdalah. Hope you all had together with Tribe. Hope you all had a wonderful Shabbat. We did. We had a fantastic Shabbat. Rachel, I'm going to come to the camera. Come tell us, what was your favorite part of Shabbat? What did you enjoy most?
Going for a walk. How about you,
What did you enjoy most?
I love benching all together as a family.
Yitzchak?
I love playing football. What about you, honey?
I loved going out with my friend for a walk.
Hillel, what did you like most about this Shabbat?
Like playing Lego.
Lego. Wow, all such fantastic things. I actually enjoyed on this particular Shabbat, which was also Rosh Chodesh, singing Hallel together for the new month. And after,
with me?
Yeah, together with everybody. After this really beautiful, uplifting Shabbat, we're going to welcome in a new week with Havdalah. Havdalah, this ceremony which ushers in the next few days, and let's hope they are full of song, blessings, peace, and light.
Amen.
We need three special
items. I love the to come.
Amen. We need three special things for Havdalah. If you've got these at home, please do get them now. This is a good time. And if you don't, no worries. You can still sing along with us. The first is some wine or grape juice. We actually have our cup here, but the grape juice or wine hasn't arrived yet. So if someone could kindly get that, I'd be very grateful. And in the same way that we bring in Shabbat by making Kiddush with wine or grape juice, we see it out making Havdalah with wine or grape juice. So there's some symmetry there. Then we have number 2, the Basamim. Who's got spices? Give us a spice wave on your camera. This helps us carry the smell and the atmosphere of Shabbat into the week. And finally, we have a candle. Who would like to unmute and tell us why we have a candle for Havdalah? Is that you, Eliana? Did I see a hand go up? Or somebody else? Come on, who's going to be brave? Is there someone who's going to tell us why we have a candle at Havdalah?
Yes, just
I can hear a voice coming from somewhere. The Bellows. You think the Bellows know? I know that they definitely know, but I think they're getting their spices together. So I think you all know, but we use a candle because at the end of Shabbat, we can begin to utilize electricity and do work again in a way that we weren't able to do on Shabbat. So that marks the difference once we use the candle again. And also, the candle lights up the way for us during this week ahead. It brightens up our world and says, keep on going, everyone. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and each one of us holding a candle represents that light. So thank you very much for coming this evening and being the light at our Havdalah. With that, let's make it happen. We're going to fill our cups.
And let's light up the world.
And here we go. Let's sing together. Ya na 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 na, ya na 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 na, ya na 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 na. Whoa, ya na 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 na, ya na 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 na, ya na 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 na. Did ya na 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 na. Did ya na 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 na. Did ya na 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 na. Sing along. Hine el Yeshua si. Eftach v'lo echad. Ki yaziv zimrasia Adonai. Vayehi Yeshua Ushaftem Mayim Besasai Mimayne Ha Yeshua L'Adonai Yeshua alamecha v'yirchasecha sela Adonai tzeva'os imanu Mizgav lanu Elohei Yaakov sela Adonai tzeva'os Ashrei Adam v'teach bach Adonai Yoshia Melech Yahaneinu V'yom Kareinu La Yehudim Ha'Yisayra V'simcha v'sasayin v'yikar Came to hear Elanu Koyis Yeshua Sesa Uv'shay Adonai Ekra Saveri Moranan Yam da 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 Yan na 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 Yeah hey Yan na 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 Yan na 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 Yan na 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech haolam Didina na 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 Boherei peri hagafen
Amen.
Didi ba 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 bam bam Yan na 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 Yan na 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 Ho 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 Yan na 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 Yan na 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 Yan na 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech haolam Didi na 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 Ya na 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 Borei minei besamim
Amen.
Secret.
Ya ba 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 Ya na 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 Ya na 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 Ho 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 Ya na 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 Ya na 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 Ya na 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech haolam Didi na 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 Ya na 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 Boherei moherei ha'esh
Amen.
Ya na 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 Ya na 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 Ya na 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 What hey Ya na 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 Ya na 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 Ya na 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech haolam Hamavdil Bein kodesh l'chol Bein or l'choshech Bein Yisrael La'amim Bein yoim ha'shevi L'sheish yemei ha'maseh Baruch atah Adonai Didi na 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 Ya na 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 Hamavdil Bein kodesh l'chol Ba 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 ba. Ho ho. Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Shavua tov. Eliyahu hatishbi. Eliyahu hagiladi b'meheira im Mashiach ben David im Mashiach ben David ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-dam Eliyahu hanavi Eliyahu hatishbi Eliyahu hagiladi Eliyahu hanavi Eliyahu hatishbi Eliyahu hagiladi b'meheira yavo aleinu Im Mashiach ben David, Bim Hiraya Volenu. Im Mashiach ben David. Here come my favorite words. Yai nine na na nine na 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 nine na na nine na na nine nine na na nine na 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 nine 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 na 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 nine. Na 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 ya na 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 am by did na 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 ya na 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 na. I think we have one more song for now.
Oh, peace.
A song of peace for the week ahead. Let's sing together. Oh say shalom bimroma. Uya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael V'yimru Amen. Yahaseh shalom Shalom aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael Yahaseh shalom Shalom aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael. Padam 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 pam 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 pam. Yeah.
Start with.
Shavua Tov, everybody. And now it's time for a story.
6:15.
This story happened a long time ago in a faraway land, in a kingdom that was called the land of Meroop. And there was a king of Meroop, and his name was King Rimpu. And King Rimpu loved everything to be very big. The bigger, the better, he would always say. And so he lived in a very, very big castle, high up on a big mountain in the land of Meroop. And his castle was surrounded by guards. And do you know what they used to call the guards? They used to call them dinks, because nobody could think of a better name for them. And the more that time went by, the bigger King Rimpu wanted things to be. He always would say, the bigger, the better. It went a little bit like this.
Oh, I love big things. When they're small, they make me sad. When they're big, they make me smile. Please, bring me something big. Servants, come on in. Big, please. Nice and big. What is this? A kiddish cup? This is not a kiddish cup. This is tiny. It's like the size of a teaspoon. Go in, please. Bring me a bucket-sized kiddish cup.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Away with you. Next, please. Bring me something giant.
Your Majesty.
What is this? A challah? Well, I can balance this on one baby finger. Almost.
Can you
This
read?
is just about enough to feed a tiny bird. Please, ask the dinks to get me the big stuff.
Yes, sir.
Who is there next outside my chamber? I hope you will make me smile. I don't like small apples. They make me cry. Actually, I'm quite hungry. I will eat this. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri ha'etz.
Wow. Delicious.
So, as you see, King Rimpu was never satisfied. He wanted everything to be bigger and bigger. And then do you know what happened? It came to this very day. But all those years ago, it was Rosh Chodesh Adar. It was the new month of Adar. And King Rimpu knew that Purim was coming. And he had an idea. He called together all the dinks, his butlers, his bakers, everybody who had anything to do with the service in the palace. And this is what he said to them.
Come in, bakers, butlers, cooks, chefs, friars. Where is my spear? I have something very, very important to tell you all. Don't be afraid. I'm a nice king, as long as I have big things. And therefore, I want to ask you all, Yes, get this little throne out the way. It's distracting me. I can't concentrate. Now, where was I? A Hamantash. Purim is coming, and I would like you to bake me the largest, biggest, most humongous Hamantash that has ever existed in the entire world. Could you do that for me, please?
Yes.
But do you like chocolate?
Chocolate? A chocolate Hamantash. Fabulous thinking there. Off you go, and please do tell me when it's ready.
And so they all set to work. Everybody who works for the palace got to work. They went down into the land of Meroop. They went into every shop and they bought all the ingredients you needed for a giant-sized Hamantash. Flour, sugar, oil, and eggs. There was just one problem. That all the people who lived in the land of Meroop, they also wanted to get ready for Purim. But when they went into the shops, there was nothing on the shelves because the people from the palace had bought everything. Nothing was left. So they would walk into their shops and they would see everything bare. Bare shelves, no oil, no flour, no sugar, nothing. And this made the people feel very sad because they didn't know that there was a grand project taking place in the palace. They just saw that there was nothing left for them. Back in the palace, as the weeks went by, everything was getting ready. They had come up with the best recipe and everybody was busy. Now, to make a giant-sized Hamantash, you need a lot of hands that are going to need a giant-sized dough. So they put in all the bags of flour and the sugar and the eggs and everything they needed for their dough. And eventually it was ready. It took a lot of them to get the dough into the oven. And eventually they put it in and they waited. And then the moment came. King Rimpu, together with all the people that had been working on the project, stood around the oven. And very carefully, they pulled it out of the oven. To their amazement, this absolutely ginormous Hamantash, which they very carefully put onto a giant-sized plate, suddenly opened its mouth and started in a very squeaky voice to sing this song.
Try to stop me, you cannot. There is something you forgot. Purim is for big and small, and biggest is not best of all.
And with that, the giant Hamantash jumped off the plate and started to bounce down the steps of the palace, all the way out the giant-sized door, all the way to the gates. But you will remember that the gates were guarded by the dinks, that's right. And so the dinks are standing guard. And King Rimpu thought to himself, they'll stop the Hamantash. And so he shouted out, stop that Hamantash! But the dinks didn't hear him. They thought he was saying, open the gates. And so they opened the gates and the Hamantash kept bouncing out. Away it went through the town.
Get the Hamantash!
And all the people saw this giant-sized Hamantash and they came out of their very small houses and they saw King Rimpu running after the Hamantash, as you've just seen.
Still saying that Hamantash!
And the dinks and the bakers and everybody started to run until there was this huge procession going all the way through the town. And the Hamantash kept singing its squeaky song.
Try to stop me, you cannot. There is something you forgot.
Purim is for big and small, and biggest is not best of all.
Nobody could believe what they were seeing and hearing on that day. And suddenly, having run all the way across the town, the giant Hamantash turned to face the crowd, and after singing its squeaky song one more time, guess what happened? He suddenly crumbled up into tons and tons of tiny-sized Hamantashen. All the people who were still trying to take in the enormous size of the Hamantash they had seen, the fact that the Hamantash seemed to be singing and had made its way through the entire town, now couldn't believe that it had transformed into a mountain of tiny Hamantashen. They looked at King Rimpu and they looked back at the mountain of Hamantashen. And very slowly, King Rimpu made his way through the crowd until he arrived at the mountain of tiny Hamantashen. The place where the mountain of Hamantashen was outside one of the very small houses. And as King Rimpu picked up one of the tiny Hamantashen, he happened to glimpse inside the window of this tiny house, and he saw a very small room, which was bare. There was no oil, no eggs, no flour, and certainly no Hamantashen. And King Rimpu realized what he had done. And then with a very sad smile, looking at the tiny Hamantashen, he said,
I tried to stop him. I could not. There was something I forgot. Purim belongs to one and all. Big people, little people, large and small. Biggest is best is not always true. I wanted my Hamantash, but I left none for you. I really am sorry for what I have done. But now, with all these Hamantashen, there is enough here for everyone.
Hamantashen.
What a happy poem. 1, 2, 3.
Yummy.
what a happy Purim they had that year in the land of Maruk. King Rimpu read the Megillah in a loud, clear voice for all the people to hear. And then they went home to a wonderful Purim meal, and everyone had as much as they needed. King Rimpu made sure of that. The next day, when everyone went out with their Purim masks, they all discovered an amazing thing. No one could tell who was the king, who was a dink, who was a cook, who was a butler. Everyone's face had a Purim look. Big and small were the same that day because of the Hamantash that ran away.
Without further ado,
Mishen נכנס אדר. משן נכנס אדר. משן אדר מרבים בשמחה. משן נכנס אדר מרבים בשמחה. משן נכנס אדר. וואו! משן נכנס אדר מרבים בשמחה. Last one. עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי. עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי. Can you jog on the spot? עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי. עם ישראל, עם ישראל. Jump in the air. עם ישראל חי. One leg. עם ישראל. Second leg. עם ישראל. Both legs at the same time. Whoa! עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי. Star jumps. עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי. Am Yisrael Chai, and Shavua Tov, Chodesh Tov, and have a wonderful build-up to this fantastic, exciting festival of Purim. Thank you, Southampton Cheder. Thank you, everybody.
without further ado, good night, Shabbat and stay safe.
Shavua Tov.
What's up, everybody?
Shavua Tov.
And
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Good week. Good week.
I did a bat mitzvah a minute. Wow.
Thanks, everybody.
Bracha Achrona, please.
Good night.